This video is the first about solving quadratics. So far, we have talked about factoring quadratics, writing them as perfect squares, rewriting them into vertex form, but now we're going to start solving them. We're going to see why does factoring help us? Why does completing the square help us? Okay, so this is a graph of what a quadratic looks like. We call these graphs parabolas. Okay, so the graph of a quadratic function is called a parabola. Okay, so it's a U-shaped curve, and from this graph we're going to be able to determine the solutions. So our first way is we're going to solve by graphing. Now the reason why this is our first method of solving is because it's the simplest. Okay, now to sort of take a step further, we're going to see what do we call these solutions. So we talked about this in class. There are 4 terms for a solution of a quadratic. We can call it a solution. We can call it an x-intercept. We can call it a root. And we can call it a zero. Okay? These are all possible words that you may see on a test in this class or on the EOC to refer to the same thing. Throughout the rest of this semester, when we talk about solutions, I'll be using the word solution, x-intercept, root, and zero, and we have to know that they're going over the same thing. Okay? This vocabulary is incredibly important. So now I'm going to focus on this x-intercept definition, or not definition, but rather term, because that's going to help us most when we look at our graph. Okay? So let's take a look at a graph over here. Here's our parabola. And if we're using the term of x-intercept, we can tell that our solutions are going to be here and here. Okay, so these are our x-intercepts. Okay, this is when y equals 0. These are our solutions to our quadratic, and these are also the roots of our quadratic. And we'll see why they're called roots when we talk about solving by completing the square, or solving from vertex form, rather. Now notice how there's 2 solutions here. Okay? Now we also have other parabolas that we can look at that will not have 2 solutions. This parabola right here, it only has 1. Okay? It has a minimum that is on the x-axis, and it's only going to have that 1 solution. Then we have another parabola that we're going to look at. This parabola right here, it has no solutions. Okay? It has a maximum here. This maximum, this is a maximum, does not ever get to the x-intercept. So there's no solution here. After Thanksgiving, we will talk about what it means to have a quadratic function with no solution. We can still look at factors, but it becomes a bit more complex. Okay, so these are our 3 situations by graphing. Now, if you can tell, these are the only 3 situations that we're going to have when we're graphing. So we also want to talk about the number of solutions a parabola may have. And we have seen that it can either have 0, 1, or 2 solutions. Okay? The reason why it can have 2 solutions is because it has an x squared term. Now, even if it has 0 solutions or 1 solution, it still will have an x squared term. But we have 2 solutions because this exponent is 2. Okay, so there you now have some questions to answer. regarding solutions and how we can find them graphically.